Coming up on today's edition of the Art Marketing Podcast, it's time to learn to prompt. Specifically, AI is advancing at breakneck speed, leaving many creatives paralyzed by options and uncertainty. I'm cutting through the noise to show you one clear path forward: master prompting. This skill alone will navigate you through the AI revolution, regardless of which tools emerge tomorrow. Really excited about today's episode, you guys. I felt I really needed to get it in the can, both for my own sanity and what is my sincere hope, yours as well. And, first let's start with the backstory. In terms of the backstory, let me tell you what you likely already know. I am a huge nerd and I love technology. And, since OpenAI released, they're the ones behind ChatGPT, when they released that first version, the first version everyone started playing with, I started playing with it. It wasn't super early. And over the years since, and really daily, I've tried hundreds of different AI applications at this point. I've used it for writing, for coding, for image generation, for analysis, video editing, health issues, gardening, cooking, marketing automation, fixing my machines of every stripe, how to educate my children, and yes, at times as a therapist. I followed the trends daily. I've gone down all the various different rabbit holes and generally got so caught up in shiny object syndrome with a good measure of FOMO on steroids that I have literally lost nights of sleep thinking that I was going to be left behind. The FOMO has just been so strong with this AI stuff. And I can say after like a great many of those sleepless nights, and I'm not kidding either, genuine sleepless nights, that's how profoundly affected by this whole movement I've been. I managed to find a sense of peace and tranquility with this whole AI revolution that we are living through. And I can honestly say never in our history as a species has any technology ever moved at a pace like this. Things have been getting released on a Monday and have felt out of date by the end of the week, Friday. Of the very same week. How are we supposed to learn something and start practicing it and getting good at it if it's going to be completely out of date and there's something better a week later? Like, how does one play a game where the rules change 3 minutes into the first half? I mean, this is like what's been going on with how fast this is moving. And I think depending on where you get your news and, what you have read or consumed about AI, you might fall into a couple of different camps. You might be in the we are all going to die, a la the Terminator, a la the Matrix camp, when the machines come to kill us. Or you could be kind of fence-sitting. I don't think it's going to kill us, but it's definitely going to take all of our jobs. Hello, UBI, which is Universal Basic Income, which everyone says, like, that's what we're going to need. Everyone's going to lose their jobs and we're going to need a Universal Basic Income. Or that it's going to unleash an era of human prosperity, the likes of which we have never seen. And I'm here to tell you a solid and compelling argument could be made for any and all of those camps, and I could make it for any and all of those camps. But personally, I always have been, I always will remain an optimist in all of this. The glass is half full. We're not going to just survive, but we are going to thrive. And even for those of us that are in my camp, in the optimist camp, in that we're going to do great camp, we're all going to thrive, regardless of what expert that has that headspace, they all say, they're like, yeah, we're gonna thrive, but it is going to be extremely bumpy on the way to that potential positive outcome. So let me get back to my profound sense of peace in all of this, and my sincere hope that the peace that I discovered is one you can adopt to protect yourself from the shiny object syndrome, FOMO on steroids that many are experiencing these days. Perhaps not. Perhaps you're ignoring this whole thing and you're like, it's not for me. But let me tell you, the shiny object syndrome, the FOMO on steroids is real. And, what are you to do about this whole AI thing? Where are you to get started? What do you need to focus on? What is the ideal path forward? My position is it's learn to prompt. Learn to talk to the AIs. That's what a prompt is. It is what you type into the chat box to tell the AI to go and do the thing. And that's literally it. You guys. It's that simple. Learn to prompt. And Let's go to analogy land. Let's assume for a moment, this will be easy to assume because it is fact. We are, all of us that are listening to this, a unique and varied group of people, different ages, races, creeds, careers, languages, cultures, levels of success, levels of education, spread out geographically across this beautiful world of ours. While going about our daily routines, in this actual moment, we experience a bright flash of light. And in an instant, we have all been transported to a new world, a giant island somewhere. Instantly, all we know about language has been wiped from our brains. Think sort of like the Tower of Babel, where everyone got a different language and no one could understand one another. Except in this case, none of us have the language, and we all have to learn a new language at the same time. It doesn't matter who you were in a previous life, what level of success you have achieved or not, how well or how poorly things are going in your life. You could have been a massively established and popular artist selling $10 million a year, or you could be struggling to get your first order, or anywhere in between. But as a result of that flash of bright light, everybody got a blank slate. We're all starting from zero. The new race has started, and we're all at the exact same starting line. The new language is how you prompt AI. How you drive these new super intelligent machines and, yes, have them do your bidding. And being it's a new language, nobody knows how to do it any better than anybody else. Those that learn how to do so, that practice, that refine, that experiment, that challenge themselves to learn, are the ones that are going to win in this new world. And we all have a clean slate. How democratizing is that? A second chance, a new beginning. Are you willing to learn, to rewire your brain, to explore what is possible? And I'll say, as part of my recently found peace and tranquility on this whole AI thing, is I realized, with the help of some helpful posts on Twitter, now X, some truth where we stand currently. And if you're as jacked into the matrix as I am and spend a ton of time following and consuming content from those that are as jacked into it and on the front lines of it as well, you will literally feel daily, hourly, by the minute, that the biggest train of your life has either left the station or is about to. And not only are you not on it, but you're never going to be able to catch it either. That is how strong the FOMO is. But if, however, you put down the keyboard, you leave the cell phone at home, you unjack the matrix, you go away from social media, and you get out into the real world, you realize that despite the sickening fast pace at which all of this AI stuff is moving, it's still early days. There's like this regular post on, what am I calling it? Twitter, now X, where people are like, oh my God, I just had a major panic, FOMO, freak out, realizing how behind I am with all this AI stuff. And then I went out and talked to my friends and I realized, no, that's actually just on Twitter. No one else even has any idea. And it's true. About 6 months ago or so, I made it my new jam to ask just about everybody that I come into contact with in the real world, friends, neighbors, doctors, family, the trash guy, my gardener, my people at the farmer's market, when I'm at home, when I'm traveling, just about everywhere, I'm asking questions. And I've actually come to thoroughly enjoy it. And I think subconsciously I started doing this as using it as a form of therapy to counter all of the time spent in the aforementioned matrix and that FOMO. My wife tells me we have to go to a kid's birthday party with a bunch of adults that I don't know, and I'd normally be less than enthused at that prospect. But I now actually look forward to the opportunity to ask the questions to 7 to 10 to 15 new people that I don't know. Hey, can I ask you a question? After the, hey, I'm Patrick. Oh, hey, Bill. Hey, Bill, what do you do? Okay. Can I ask you a question? Are you using AI at all? If so, in what capacity? What apps are you using? What are the use cases? These are the questions that I've just been asking everybody all the time. Last time I asked this question was literally this morning at the bagel shop I went to. The owner's name is Carlos. Shout out Carlos. He was sitting at the counter in this place with his laptop open, doing the paperwork for his store, or whatever, ordering, whatever. And I was like, what's up, Carlos? I've got a question for you. And Carlos's answer was exactly what I get most of the time. Yeah, I've tried it. I've put a couple of things into ChatGPT, asked a few questions, but that's it. It's not really for me. I don't use it regularly. Earlier in the week, or last week, I should say, one of my childhood best friends that I grew up with called me. I don't get to see him that much. He called. We started catching up. I asked him. He's a guy that's in commercial real estate. There's a lot of applications for it. I asked him, roughly the same response. Yeah, I've used it a couple of times here or there, but it never really stuck. one of my best friends from college that I talk to all the time, almost daily. And I'm constantly telling him all this cool stuff that I'm doing with AI and all these things I'm figuring out and how it's making my life easier and this and that and the other. I tell him every day how amazing this is, and I can't even get him to do it. He still doesn't get it. He's a photographer too, ironically enough. So once you go through that, okay, and once you have all of those conversations, you realize it is so early days. 9 times out of 10, call it 95 out of 100. Most people, at least in my sphere of influence here in Southern California, I mean, if I was in the Bay Area, I'm certain it would be different, are just not power users, if users at all, of AI. So it's just still early days, which is super, super encouraging. So where do you sit currently in this whole AI thing? Perhaps you've heard about it, but you've never really played with it. Perhaps you're like my 2 pals and you played with it a few times, but never had enough of an aha moment to come back. Perhaps you're using it regularly and getting better and better results. Or perhaps you are already a power user and I should be calling you for advice. You're jacked into the matrix. Regardless of where you fall on the scale, though, my strong encouragement to all of you, to all of us, is to learn to prompt, to start working at it, and to get better at it. And it is absolutely a beautiful thing, I must admit. And when you play with it, you start to realize that all of these LLMs, and LLMs just means large language model. That's what's sort of the brain of these entire things, of which there's quite a few that you can play with, right? And ChatGPT from OpenAI, this company called Anthropic has one called Claude. Google has one called Gemini. Twitter, now X, has one called Grok. There's a free one from Facebook and Instagram too. And the easiest way to think about them is they are just super smart and infinitely knowledgeable friends that you can have a conversation with at any time for any reason. It's just a subject matter expert that works for you, that you can have a conversation with at any time for any reason. And the whole thing, it really just becomes so much fun. I mean, better still, often in my meetings with like my team and stuff, I'll be showing off these various new AI use cases that we're bolting into the marketing department. And they're all like, "Oh man, that's so cool. I didn't know it could do that. How am I going to learn how to do this? Is there a course I can take?" And my response is always the same every time. You don't need a course. You don't need no stinking courses. Okay. All you got to do is just start practicing. It's the best thing about learning how to prompt. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? It's just practice. It's just practice. The best way to learn is literally just the number of prompts written. That should be your metric. How many prompts have you written? How many iterations on the prompts have you written? And you can just keep asking questions and asking them in different ways and asking for different results and saying, "I did not like that answer. Give me a better answer." And da-da-da-da-da. It's just number of prompts answered. And when you start doing this, you really get this fundamental understanding, this realization that AI is just a tool. It's not a crutch, okay? It's just a tool. It's neither good nor bad. It's all about how you use it, how you decide to get value out of it, how you make it work for you. And I find so often that people either don't realize this about AI or use it, get a lousy result and get turned off, right? They'll see something somebody else wrote about it and they don't like the fact that they're doing it. Or, in our community, they'll get upset that some artists are using the tool to generate art. And, that's all just baggage you just don't need to get hung up with. It's neither good nor bad. It's how you use it, right? And like a great many things in life, just don't worry about what others are doing with it or what so-and-so said. Just make it work for you in the ways you want it to work for you. You don't have to compromise who you are as a human being, your standards, your morals, your values, your practices. It can work for you no matter what scenario you're in and what you want it to do, right? And I find that if you can just approach it with an open mind that way, start learning to prompt, you will very quickly hit a place where you realize how profoundly amazing it can be in your life across all aspects of it: personal, business, relationally, educationally. It's amazing. It's amazing. And moreover, to touch briefly on getting straight to the signal and the noise of it all, separating the wheat from the chaff, if you like, boiling it down to its essential element. No matter how you decide to make the AI work for you, in what capacity, in what apps, it all comes down to prompting. It's knowing how to write prompts. how to ask questions, how to refine them, how to ask for what you want. It's why you've got to learn to prompt. And, I'll say that all of the apps, all of the various use cases are all driven by prompts. It doesn't matter what you're trying to get the AI to do, whether you use it as a search engine, or whether you're using it to help you in your business, or whether you're using it to create music or to create images or to combine things or do financial analysis. In whatever any of the apps that are out there, they're all prompt driven. They're all prompt driven. It's why it's time to learn to prompt. It is the new language. And how do you do that? You just start asking questions and you practice. That's how easy, that's how approachable this whole thing is. You just start asking questions and you practice. You talk to it like you would a normal human being. And, as far as this episode goes, it's already getting a bit long. So I don't want to make this into the tactical guide on prompting and get too far into the nitty gritty. If I get a ton of feedback, well, who am I kidding? We're going to be talking about prompting for the inevitable and near future. So we'll probably have to come back with some episodes like that. But today, I don't want to get that far into the weeds on it. I don't want anyone feeling overwhelmed. I just want you to practice. That's it. But what I want to do before we wrap the episode, I want to hit a few quick points and leave you with some resources depending on where you are in your journey. And to start, I feel like I should probably at least cover where the ones that are, how do you go and get the ones that are available now? What does that look like? Are they free? So we'll talk about that for a little second. Then, I know, many of you know that we have one of our own called Art Helper that we've been hacking at and iterating at and making better. So you could certainly try that one. There'll be links in the show note for that. Show notes. I also want to briefly give you, though, some use cases that I find really valuable that have nothing to do with selling your art, that I hope will help using AI more sticky for you. That'll help you get to an aha moment, because it doesn't necessarily have to be all about business. I don't care how you get tricked into trying this more often. If you do, it will affect everything. For Art Storefronts customers, I will give you some things that you can try right away that I think are amazing use cases. And for the advanced among you, I will leave you with a resource that I think will blow your mind. So let's hit those points. You've never gotten started. Where to get started? Does it cost money? No, there are a bunch of free ones. I will put links in the show notes to all of them. It doesn't matter whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, which is Google's, or Grok, which is the one by Twitter, now X. They all have free options. So you can just start learning prompting, start kicking the tires. And, I'll include links to, like I said, to all of them where you can sign up for these things in the show notes. And I would just start with those. If you're already playing and liking one, try another one. Nothing better than comparing and contrasting. I mean, I'm constantly hopping between 4 or 5 different ones, depending on what my use case is. And sometimes it's the exact same use case and I just want to get a different voice, or one of them derps out and I move to the other one. So definitely encourage you to try multiple ones too. And I think in terms of your individual journey, start free, play around with it, get some ideas going, get some results. And then when you find one that you like, give it $20 a month. Pay for it, because on the pro plans, there's a bunch of other additional features that you won't necessarily get on the free plan. So we can talk about that in a minute, but that would be a good way to go about it. Let's cover some rapid fire use cases, many of which you've likely heard about on the internet, but perhaps not. Some of my favorite use cases, I'll just rapid fire a hodgepodge list and I'll just sort of rant around a few of these. I love cooking. Okay. Yes, you can immediately ask all of the Google type questions. What's medium rare for a hanger steak or lamb chops or a whole chicken? When should you pull it out? What should the oven be? Give me grilling techniques, this, that, and the other. When you're making a sauce, my sauce is a bit flat. These are the ingredients that has in it. How can I punch it up? You're making a stew. What the consistency of my stew is a bit watery. I'd like to thicken the broth. What ideas do you have for this stew? Anything and everything. Cooking is just absolutely amazing. And especially if you have no idea what you're doing in the kitchen, just ask it. Just ask it. Next, tech support. Oh my gosh, tech support. Oh my gosh, tech support. Is this a killer use case? It can be the car, the dishwasher, a power tool, a calculator, any technological device, mechanical device imaginable, your phone. I am having a problem with X. It's model number X. It's made by such and such manufacturer. It's broken. How can I fix it? It is absolutely pure magic what this thing knows. I mean, your car could be a 1967 Mercedes SL. You tell it, I am having a problem with my 1967 Mercedes SL. This part, how can I fix it? It knows. It just knows everything for every device imaginable. Any tech supported related thing that you guys are stuck with, iPhone, children's devices, anything technical, figure out who makes the thing, what the model is, or take a photo of it and say, hey, I've got this thing. Any ideas on how to fix it? I mean, how to change a filter in a heater, the sprinkler timer, anything in the garage, the dish, just anything, okay, that gives you a tech support headache. Be explicit in your instructions on what the it is. You will win. You will win. Next, explain such and such to me like I'm 15 years old. If you really want to dumb it down, you can say, explain it to me like I'm a child, or explain it to me like I'm 10 years old. Taxes, financial market terms you don't understand. What is a spread trade? How do I hedge? You know, all this technical type of stuff that you hear all the time on like the financial shows and this and that, and you don't have any idea what it is. At least I don't. I Google and I find out. I find out instantaneously. Science stuff, math stuff, health stuff, astronomy stuff, computer stuff. Explain it to me like I am 15 years old. Anything that you struggle with in that capacity, by asking the LLM to explain something technical to you like you are 15 years old, is pure magic, okay? Plants, I like them inside, I like them outside. I'm generally fascinated by them. Take a photo of any plant in any state, indoors or out. What is this plant? How do I fix it? It could be pestilence, yellow leaves, not growing, something else weird going on. All of a sudden, you're going to have a green thumb. How often do I water it? Will this plant get along with other plant? Is this plant poisonous? Should I not have it in the house? Does it need fertilizer? It will tell you exactly. It's insane. Comparisons. Okay? Comparisons, you guys. So powerful. I recently moved to the dark side in my personal life. I've been a PC guy for the last 20 years. I'm finally getting a Mac. I got a Mac. Help me think through the pros and cons of getting a new Mac, whatever, that I got. I got the little hockey puck one. It's awesome. Mac Mini, is that what it's called? I think Mac Mini. Anyway, the Mac Mini in a PC. List the pros, list the cons, and ultimately what should guide my decision. You can do this with any two anythings in any discipline. Cars, cell phones, any technological device, period, any home equipment device, any big purchase, any small purchase. How intelligent it goes through the comparison between the two and whether or not the value proposition is there to pick one or the other is like literally mind-boggling. I'm trying to decide between X and Y. Think through that situation. Give me the pros and cons. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh. Spreadsheets, which I hate with a passion, specifically, and docs generally. You can tell it to do anything. Create sheets, write formulas, combine sheets, get rid of duplicates, break one column into two columns, edit this file and give me a new copy, convert this file type to another file type, help with the formatting on this, remove all the wonkiness on that. You can literally tell it to do anything with any document imaginable, and it goes for all of them. Spreadsheets, docs, Google Docs, Word docs, PowerPoint, anything. Give it the file, tell it what you want it to do with the file. It will come back with the file instantaneously. It goes for images too. JPEG to PNG to GIF to this to that. Any of that, it can do that. It's amazing. Practice the foreign language. You know, when I'm doing voice mode on the various ones, I'll practice my Spanish. I'll tell the LLM my ability level and start having a conversation in another language. If I screw something up, I'll say, explain that to me in English. And then I'll say it to me again in Spanish. And I'll say, let's have a conversation. It's amazing. It's amazing at that. Health concerns. My goodness, you guys, this is one of the areas that AI is going to disrupt more than just about anything. It is so good at this. And there's a myriad of stories, both in the animal kingdom, I would say, and in the human being world, where you tell the LLM, and I realize, you know, this is a little dicey, Patrick. I don't want to give my health data to this thing, and you have a valid concern there. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I'm not that special. But I've read multiple stories of people taking their animals to the vets multiple times, getting the same advice, that animals not getting any better, going into one of the LLMs, ChatGPT, describing exactly what the animal's symptoms are, and then having it come back. I did this recently with my dog. My dog is getting older. It's starting to make these like groaning noises when it goes down like an old man. Turns out that's normal because he is an old man. Dog's 9, which is old for his breed. Anyway, you can do that for your personal health stuff too. And there's a ton of stories of people self-diagnosing and fixing health issues that doctors couldn't even get. But even if there's like a scare, whether it's you, your kid, your spouse, whoever, put in the symptoms as detailed as possible. Let it ask you a few questions and watch what it gives you back. I use it to sanity check every doctor's opinion I get for anything. Hey, I've got this going on, that going on, the other thing going on. What do you think about that? What does the science say about that? Can you help me think through this? What should I look at? What can I focus at? All of that stuff. And I love putting the biohacking stuff in there too and asking that. So amazing for health concerns. And then what is the whole topic today? This is going to be a little meta about learn to prompt. Ask it to write prompts for you. If you're going to learn to prompt, there's literally no better way than to learn from the source. I'm trying to get this result, please. Come up with a prompt for me that helps me get the best results. Copy that prompt, paste it in, see how it does. If you don't like the result, say, hey, you gave me this prompt. Here's what it gave me back. I don't like this, that, and the other thing. Can you fix that and give me the prompt again? It will rewrite the prompt for you. I've learned a ton about prompting. I am doing this on a weekly basis, making my prompts better, fixing things that it messes up on or where it hallucinates or it does anything else. ASF customers, okay, Meg and I talked about this a couple episodes back. You can download your entire Art Storefront's order history as a CSV. You can upload that into one of the LLMs, and you can chat with your entire order history and customer database. Who are my best collectors? What's the highest, most expensive piece I've sold? What's the cheapest piece I've sold? What's my average AOV? How many sales am I averaging a week? How many sales am I averaging a month? What was my total gross last month? What was my total gross last year? It's like having a normal conversation with a spreadsheet. It's absolutely insane. You know, we are going to mix this into Art Helper in future versions, but you don't have to wait. You can experience this wow right now. And by the way, you can do it with any document. Any document. One, I've got a resource for you. Okay. This thing's a movie. I think it's like 2.5 hours long. You don't have to watch the entire 2.5 hours, but it is an extremely cool resource. My strongest recommendation is that every single solitary person listening to this, you have to watch at least the first 10 to 15 minutes of this video. Okay. And it's a guy I've been following on a while. He's on the forefront of this whole thing. He's a kid. His name's Riley Brown. And this kid's used every AI out there is. He's coded his own things, a million bajillion different things, right? He's used every app on the planet. And he just did, I think it dropped this last week or this last weekend, this huge walkthrough. He's got great visuals. He talks about all the use cases, all the basic stuff with the LLMs, all the way into all the various different apps, image generation, video generation, sound effects generation, sound generation, voice generation, coding. I'm only halfway through it, and it's mind-boggling. A phenomenal piece of content. I'm going to link that in the show notes. Bare minimum, watch the first 10 to 15 minutes where he's talking just about what you can do with the LLMs, and he talks about prompts a little bit. Unbelievable resource. For the more advanced among you, okay? You know, for someone that already has some experience, already probably has some good reps and sets, and you've been at it, ChatGPT just recently released O3, which everyone is calling like their most advanced, out of control, like reasoning model. And it is like, it's scary, you know, like, why am I blanking on his name? The founder, Sam Altman of ChatGPT, just recently said, like, if you are not spending 3 hours a day outcycling your skill set with this, you are wasting your time. So one of the smartest guys that I follow in this space that is like a prompt expert, a prompt wizard, has just recently started a site where he puts all of his prompts in it. There's a bunch of these sites out on the internet, but this one's vetted. I know this one's great. And I thought I might just read, like, once you get like super in the weeds on this, read one of his prompts, which he calls O3 maximum reasoning. And again, I'm gonna include a show note for this, but the idea is this O3 model, everyone is saying this O3 model, which is the latest and greatest, but look, you heard the beginning of this episode. 2 weeks from now, it might be out of date. I don't know. But right now, it's the latest and greatest, okay? He's like, do you have a task in mind that you really need to think through and solve? He goes, this is the prompt I want you to give to O3. And just listen to this, okay? And I'll quote. ultra deep thinking mode, greater rigor, attention to detail, and multi-angle verification. Start by outlining the task and breaking down the problem into subtasks. For each subtask, explore multiple perspectives, even those that seem initially irrelevant or improbable. Purposely attempt to disprove or challenge your own assumptions at every step. Triple verify everything. Critically review each step. Scrutinize your logic, assumptions, and conclusions, explicitly calling out uncertainties and alternative viewpoints. Independently verify your reasoning using alternative methodologies or tools, cross-checking every fact, inference, and conclusion against external data, calculation, or authoritative sources. Deliberately seek out and employ at least twice as many verification tools or methods as you typically would. Use mathematical validations, web searches, logic evaluation frameworks, and additional resources explicitly and liberally to cross-verify your claims. Even if you feel entirely confident in your solution, explicitly dedicate additional time and effort to systematically search for weakness, logical gaps, hidden assumptions, or oversights. Clearly document these potential pitfalls and how you've addressed them. Once you're fully convinced your analysis is robust and complete, deliberately pause and force yourself to reconsider the entire reasoning chain one final time from scratch. Explicitly detail this last reflective step. I mean, what is going on in that thing? That is how deep some people are taking these prompts, and it's absolutely staggering. So for the advanced among you, or for anybody really, if you want to check out that resource, that will also be in the show notes. And I find that it's just a really, really good creative sandbox to get in there and check out and read a couple of things. So as we wrap, my goal for you is to learn to prompt, to practice it, to make it a daily task where you invest at least 5 to 15 minutes learning to get better and faster at learning this new language, okay, of prompting the AIs. And I'm confident, okay, extremely so, that in doing so, you are going to see a massive ROI, return on investment, on your time and the results that you're getting. You'll start to give yourself the fundamentals, okay, needed to not just survive, but thrive in this new AI world we are entering into. And if you enjoyed this episode or any of the recent ones, please do leave me a review or a like on Spotify or Apple or YouTube. I read them all and I course correct accordingly. So please give the podcast some love. And by the way, I just got the new Mac, right? eatingmyown.com. I just got the new Mac and I've had to reinstall the Adobe Creative Suite. And I've been so busy, I haven't had time to put the audio out, which is this one from Adobe called Audition? Yeah, Audition. So I finished my notes, okay, before I recorded this thing. And I was like, oh, I've not used that app in 2 years. I remember setting it up with such a headache. So do you know what I did? I put into ChatGPT my version of Adobe, my Mac, its specs, my mic and audio setup. And I said, please walk me through step by step, like you would a 15-year-old, making sure we make no mistakes, how to properly record a podcast in Adobe Audition. The results blew my mind. They'll blow yours. Thanks for listening. And as always, have a great day.